is our live stream talking about the 5th season, role playing in the stillness, N.K. Jemisin's award-winning Broken Earth trilogy coming to tabletop. Last I looked, we were less than, is it less than 1,000?
Less than 600.
Less than 600 away. That is exciting. What's more exciting is we've got some friends hanging out in the studio. Hello. 3 guests, 3 phenomenal creatives. Do me a favor, let's introduce yourselves and we'll just kind of go from left to right. So Hiromi.
Hi, I'm Hiromi Kota, they, them, writer and co-developer for the core book and writer and developer, same thing for the quick start. I just wrote more of it. I do a lot of things for a lot of RPG companies, like all that good stuff.
I keep seeing that avatar over your shoulder. I wanted it real bad. Awesome. Thank you, Hiromi. Tanya, how are you?
Good. How are you? Sorry, I'm not at home, but I am remote. But I wanted to pop in and do the stream. Co-developer with Hiromi. I do a lot of RPG stuff. Created and creative director for Into the Motherlands. Do a lot of D&D. I've worked with Green Ronin before, and so it's fun to be here. Also a little nerve-wracking since I'm Nora's friend. So I'm excited, and I'm keeping an eye on the funding as well. And if I make a sudden noise and shriek, it'll be because we hit 50,000.
Right on. Yeah. It was just before we went live, I was just saying, okay, if you see it go, just make sure you make some noise. Yeah, absolutely. And Steve, how are you, friend?
I'm good. I'm Steve Kenson. I'm a staff designer with Green Ronin, and I did a lot of the age system adaptation work on 5th season.
Phenomenal. The crowdfunding campaign, gangbusters. It has gone really, really well. Phenomenal reception. We are ever creeping up on the goal, and we've only been live for how many hours has it been?
I was going to say about 6 hours, maybe.
About 6 hours. Absolutely. Hey, folks, I want to welcome folks who are in chat. Nate, I'm glad that you can see us and that you are in. Everybody say hey. If you've got questions for our panel of folks, do drop them in the chat, and then we will endeavor to answer them. And so we're just talking 5th season role-playing. Let's talk about the setting. We've got questions, people who are just like, tell me more about it. I want to know, what it's all about. And hey, Nicholas, good to see you, friend. Glad you were able to join us. Nicholas, of course, a friend from hanging out with us during our Mutants and Masterminds Monday stream. But yeah, so who wants to take a sort of a go at painting a picture for folks about what the Broken Earth trilogy is and where 5th season pops into the storyline? Or as Nicholas Morrow said very succinctly, what is 5th season?
I like how none of us want to start.
I know, right?
I was looking for the thing that I wrote, and then I'm like, wait a minute, Troy had a better thing because I'm not great at writing copy.
I'm just going to read out of the quick start because I have no originality left. So welcome to the 5th season role playing. Basically, it's a story about survival. It's a story about making it and dealing with calamity and change and heartbreak. It is not lighthearted, as the books are not lighthearted. And, it's going to make you really think. It's not going to be the standard game where you just go kill things to kill them. So I'm loving what we did with it. I hope everyone is happy with it. We know everyone won't be happy, but I can't help them. And I am starting to ramble because I'm incredibly nervous. So someone else please talk.
Tanya, you're doing fantastic. And, the reality is you're all going to love it, and you're going to love it. That's it. Everybody who's listening, everyone who will listen, you will love it and you will buy it. But yeah, outside of that, there are... Go for it, Steve.
We were talking about the sort of genre classification of fifth season, and it's a setting and a series of books that's very hard to peg in that regard, because it's science fiction and it's fantasy and it's post-apocalyptic, but as somebody said, it's also pre-apocalyptic and currently apocalyptic. And any moment now apocalyptic, as
Yeah,
far as
I
that
think
goes.
I
On
think
its way
Chris said
from
like
to
post-apocalyptes,
Right,
Oh.
apocalyptes, yeah.
like the Shattering, the big one was like 40,000 years ago in the setting, but also
Mhm.
there's fifth seasons.
There's fifth seasons, right?
For folks unfamiliar, fifth season in world, or simply just season, refers to like a huge usually geologically driven event
Mhm.
that affects the entire known world, and like we're talking about like volcanoes going off and just
Yeah,
spewing so much ash into the air that like it the sun just goes away for
you get 4 years of volcanic winter.
Oh,
Yep.
and
I,
there's a bunch of different like ways that Father Earth expresses his hatred for humans, his children, and it's
I'm glad that you brought up Father Earth. Can we? So I haven't read the novels yet. I need to read paper novels just because I don't know, it keeps me grounded.
Mhm.
Can you um, explain Father Earth as an entity in this storyline? And I mean, it does sound like, I mean, there's a particular hate
Mhm.
um, for
yeah.
humanity.
So Father Earth is not like a fixed deity or like something
Okay.
that like is like considered
A s-
like it's kind of like humanity's projection of like
Mhm.
what the Earth is doing. It's there's some amount of intelligence that the world itself has, and the world is pissed.
Mhm.
If you haven't read the books, I won't go into it too much, but the anger is justified, and that expresses itself throughout the setting in terms of
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
constant seismic activity, and there's a whole magic system like designed to temper that so that it's not nearly as
Mhm.
destructive or lethal, but that system is largely only available to the wealthier parts of the supercontinent. So its socioeconomic status still has a fairly huge impact on the Stillness.
Mhm.
And while we were talking about like what genre it belongs to, it's kind of like this large like just, it it's a bit of everything because like it's just that sort of creative and impactful.
Mhm.
The wealthier comms, they have oh sorry, com short for
yeah.
community is like the
Community. Yep.
sort of like cities or towns, just sort of the word for those in general. And wealthier comms can have things like geothermal power, hydroelectric power, refrigeration, um,
Mhm.
plumbing that works. And poorer comms, sometimes they're just sort of living in like a medieval level technology, which is a really clear divide between haves and have-nots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I
We
break
did it!
in?
Yeah,
Yes,
please.
we did it. We're over $50,000.
Woo!
We did it! Congratulations, everybody. That is
All right.
very exciting.
Well, now we are no longer talking in theory. This is definitely happening.
It's the
Yes.
thing. It is happening. Let
Go
me.
ahead,
I'm
Tanya.
gonna
You
do.
had to.
Yeah, please, Tanya, go for it. Were you breaking in to let us know the good news?
I was breaking to let you know the good news, and also, can we re-enable raids? Because
Yeah, I'm on it
I
right now.
don't
Sorry.
have
All
I
right.
don't have a way to do that.
Yeah, I'm getting over there right now.
So
I
while
also
Troy is
want to
talking
just.
about that, Hiromi brought up the nature of comms in the stillness, and I think one of the really and they're very central to the game and to the setting. And I think one of the really interesting things about the nature of the stillness is, although there are a lot of technological innovations, especially in the wealthier comms. In fact, there's a whole cast called the Innovators, and their job is basically, coming up or rediscovering or improving technologies in various ways. One of the kind of limitations of the nature of the stillness is that everything is very local, um, compared to our really very interconnected world, where we have the internet and instantaneous communication. In the stillness, that option just doesn't really exist. It's not feasible. You can't string communications connections for telegraphy or telephones or internet or anything, because constant seismic activity is always destroying things. So it's maintaining even a network of roads takes the power of an empire in order to actually be able to do it. Maintaining communications beyond that is a real challenge. And so comms have a certain isolation from one another, as far as that goes, compared to the way we understand the way news travels across the world.
So while I'm futzing around with our Twitch channel, I want to talk real quickly about. There is an image that, of course, I don't have up and ready because we just like to play it fast and loose here. There is an image of, and it's called. Here it is. Let me share it. It's quite distressing. It's called boil bugs.
Mm,
Can someone please help me? What?
I'd
What is?
rather not.
yeah. So
Okay, so
yeah, no, please, Hermie.
okay, so folks listening to this, if you have like any sort of body horror phobias or any insect phobias, just sort of, I don't know, mute this for 30-ish seconds. I'll like
Right.
make this motion to like let you know it's okay. Uh,
Beautiful.
so boil bugs outside of fifth seasons are they're just insects that hang out around riverbeds and whatnot, and just sort of like fill themselves up with water. During seasons, that water boils, and they are superheated. And one of the ways that they feed themselves is they will burrow into the flesh of mammals
Mhm.
and then eat them,
Ooh.
and it is fucking horrific.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Outside of seasons, boil bugs are carrion feeders. But during a season, well, meat lasts longer if it's cooked.
I
Yeah.
see. Evocative.
Yeah.
Nice. Yes, and
Um,
Hiromi, thank you so much for the for that, because I'm on the stream and I should have listened, but I do appreciate the warning
mm,
and the heads up on that. I do have another picture that I want to show,
mhm,
and let me know if we're not entirely sort of steeped in the. One second while I get that
mhm.
up and running.
So Bill
Go
Beers
for it,
asks,
please.
when the game is set in relation to the books, and I think that's an important
Oh yeah,
point, because for folks who have read the novels, there's a very significant story that unfolds over the course of the Broken Earth trilogy that, without spoiling anything, has significant effects on the world. And so we are looking at the stillness prior to those events, because there's obviously a lot that happens in the stillness even before the series of events in the novels.
Yeah,
awesome. Good. Go for it. I'm sorry, Hiram.
Yeah. That said, like, when we start off, when games start off, it's generally going to be like before a season, but their seasonal rules are a thing, and you can absolutely play during a season. And if you want to play during that season, you can. Two, good luck.
Yes. Indeed.
So I have a picture I want to show, and it's beautiful. It definitely tells a story, but I'm not exactly sure what that story is. RC, good to see you. The Games Tavern is here as well. Bill, thank you for that great question, by the way. Tell me, if you would, what's happening here?
So that is essentially the start to the quick start adventure. Stress fractures. And the sort of inciting event is that you're in your comm named Nuveen, and someone is stealing crops. Someone is stealing food, which, since you are a community and since there was a drought leading up to the adventure, it's kind of a big deal. Like, stealing food from everyone else impacts everyone else and could potentially lead to people not making it or having other kinds of maladies. The person in the center, kind of just like cradling the broken branch, is Bomari. He's a farmer. He's kind of grumpy, mainly because someone's stealing from the common, breaking trees. Yeah, exactly. And then in the right panel of the triptych, that's Bomari trying to explain that there's a problem that needs to be addressed to the head woman, Tanesh, and you get pulled into the adventure shortly afterwards. And it's a mystery. There are actually two mysteries, and there are spoilers beyond that. So I'm just not going to talk about it too much.
I think it's important to note we've written several adventures for fifth season so far, and fifth season is a very unusual setting for tabletop RPG stories compared to a lot of the games, the sort of more adventure games that folks are used to. We talked a little bit about that in the beginning. We talk a little bit about it in the quick start as well, that characters are primarily, at least in the start of the game, the default assumption is that characters are members of a comm, and that a lot of the stories are going to revolve around things they are doing that concern or help their comm in one way or another. So rather than the sort of rootless wandering adventurers who just roll into town, mess some stuff up, and then roll out again, the player characters are much more likely the people who are defending the town from the weird strangers who show up, or from whatever other problems are coming their way. It really is about supporting and sustaining their community. So it's definitely going to be a little different from what a lot of folks are used to.
I want to say thanks. real quick, I just want to say thanks to Flower Crown Gaming. How exciting! Congrats on the funding. Say hello to our good
Thank
friend, the great Rafiki. Yeah, we're
Welcome,
very,
Rafiki.
very excited about that. Most certainly. Take a quick peek, and it's so. There we
We're over
go.
Nice.
51 now.
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at that. Loved, absolutely loving it. And of course, we're looking at the Backerkit link that I'm dropping in chat. If you have yet to have a chance to get in on the ground floor, this is your time. This is the moment for you to get in there. And
Right?
we've got some stretch goals in here. Now we're doing this through Backerkit, and I think that I may be using the wrong nomenclature for this,
Mhm.
but let's take a So we talked about seasons. We talked about
Yep.
comm creation. Before I go on, Tanya, did you want? Sorry, I interrupted you with all of our the excitement, so I wanted to make sure you had a chance to.
That's okay. I'm excited too, and I'm actually kind of live texting with Nora, so so I just wanted to make sure that she saw all the hype and excitement as well. Um,
Awesome.
well, one thing that came up in talking with Hiromi when we did our video about the game and about kind of the world, one thing that I'm loving is that like Steve said, um, it's not just wander into a tavern or something, kill people, take their stuff.
Hmm.
You have to work together, and that's something a lot of RPGs don't have you do.
Yeah.
It's core to surviving what's happening, surviving in the stillness and with your calm. So instead of giving players, and I say bad players in the sense of people who want to be main character, you have to learn to cooperate both at the table and in the game. That's
Hmm.
one thing I'm really loving about it.
Yeah.
And sort of like expanding on that, or whatever. Sorry. um, there's a sidebar towards the beginning of the quick start that I wrote, entitled "Don't Start No Shit," which lays out that this, like Tanya was saying, like and Steve was saying, this doesn't play out like it does with other folks, because with other games, like there's a problem in a comm, and if you kind of do the usual big hero adventurer solution and just go over and go, you're evil, time to kill you, that's your neighbor.
Hmm.
And your neighbor had friends and family there, and they are forever going to know you as the person who killed their friend or family member. Like that's your comm, that's your community. Don't mess with that. Like, you have to cooperate within the comm. Like, that's your home.
I am, Hiromi. I don't mean to interrupt, but I'm having a bit of a moment. Yeah, I think you just had the same moment that I did.
Oh,
NK Jemison
hello.
is in chat. Thank you so much for coming to spectate. We do appreciate it, and I'm trying not to fan out, but I do want to tell
Right.
you this: watching the award acceptance speech that you did, I believe it was 2016, was phenomenal. It was chef's kiss. It was
Hmm.
one of the most amazing acceptance speeches I have seen in my short young life. Just kidding. I'm old.
Wow. Do we have to bust you out right now?
I know, right? Don't
Yep.
do it, please.
Oh, I
Don't do
will.
it.
Oh, I will. I absolutely will.
Absolutely, a phenomenal author. Just an amazing contributor, and we made it. I'm not sure if you heard, Nora.
Mm.
Despite all the texts, that was great. Yeah, absolutely. Also, we did it. We're funded, and I mean, we are excited, not surprised, because people are
Indeed.
so moved by the by the whole concept, and I think that's even in chat, folks are yeah, Massive Damage. Our friends at Massive Damage are fanning out as well.
All right, relax, y'all. Nora's a regular person.
But we're not.
I mean, in sort of the sense that we're abnormal people, I guess. But
That's exactly what I mean. Yeah, and yeah, absolutely. Nora says, "I see, and congrats on the rapid funding, and to me too. Absolutely to you as well, and to us all nerds here. 100% happy kaiju stompy time. That is quite the name, and I approve." Yeah, so and very kind words, Derek. We do appreciate that. It is sort of the perfect marriage. I do say so myself. Great people making a great game, using a great system, set in the world of great books by a great author. It's all real great, to be sure. Not the least of which is the fact that we're running the 5th season role playing game runs on Age. That's the adventure game engine, and that contributes to the general greatness. Do we want to talk a little bit about Age, just to kind of get folks who might be kind of hearing this for the first time?
Sure. So the Age system was originally designed by Green Ronin president Chris Pramus for the licensed Dragon Age RPG, and premiered with set 1 of that game. It proved so popular that folks were constantly asking when we were going to just do a standalone set of Age system rules, which Chris did in the first edition of the Fantasy Age RPG. Since then, we've applied the adventure game engine to numerous other settings and systems, including the Expanse RPG, the Modern Age game, our Blue Rose romantic fantasy setting, and a variety of other Age system projects. It's really it's a super flexible, adaptable system that we've been able to do a lot with. And one of the things I really like about Age is that we have, rather than, although we've done Fantasy Age and Modern Age as standalone, sort of, for lack of a better term, generic settingless books that you can adapt to your own settings, we've also adapted Age to a lot of different settings. And we've made a point of doing those all as standalone books rather than supplements to some other core game system, because it lets us adapt and sort of shape the Age system to fit whatever it is we're doing. And that's allowed us to create different things for it, which has been really great from a design perspective.
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm also poking around over on our Twitch stream.
I should say, for folks who are curious, that the big common element of Age is it's a 3d6 based system, and if there are matching numbers on a die roll for a test, you generate what we call stunt points in Age that allow you to do various stunts or flourishes or add-ons to your actions. And we've been able to do a lot with the stunt system, ranging from doing space combat stunts in the Expanse to doing more emphasis on social and investigative type stunts in 5th season, as well as handling the abilities of feral origins using the stunt system from Age.
Not to make you continue to talk, Steve, but I'm gonna make you to continue to talk.
Wow.
There's also the com creation system, which in the core game, in the core book, like, that happens before character creation, because your characters are part of that that's their home, and the events of that com shape them and affect them.
Right.
There's a lot more to it than that, which is why I'm throwing it back to Steve, because he made it.
So, like Hiromi said, comms are central to gameplay in 5th season. So we start with the process of the players collaboratively creating a comm together, basically building the community that their characters are all going to be a part of. And the system guides them through a variety of things, from assigning the sort of numerical values to the comms traits, because comms are basically measured in those ways just like characters are, to just sort of a series of prompts and questions about things to think about of, who's the most prominent person in the comm? What is the comm, best known for? What was when was it founded? Those kinds of things and basically it just goes around the table where the players each get a question or a facet of the comm to fill in, and the other players can chime in on it. And it's a collaborative process. At the end of it, you go through what we call the year before process. Hiromi mentioned that in Nuveen, in the quick start, we talk about the fact that Nuveen had a difficult summer with a bit of a drought, and some of their crops failed. That actually came out of the comm creation process, where you basically go through comm turns, which are seasons, and you basically determine events that happen, and you can either play out those events at the comm level, where the comm uses its abilities to deal with whatever happens, and that may increase or decrease its stability or other resources. Or you can have the characters intervene in the comm event from the character level, and they can play out an adventure or a story where they interact with that comm event, and their actions can change how that event impacts the comm. So if the seasonal event in spring is strangers visit the comm, then you could either play that out at the comm level and decide if that has any effect on the comm stability or anything else, and then just move on to the next season and see what happens before you talk about a character level story. Or you could run a story where the characters meet these strangers, find out who they are and what they want and why they're there, and play out a whole adventure that affects essentially how that plays out in terms of the effects on the comm.
Absolutely. So we've got a question from Jonathan Doss, who says, the magic and psionics in the book seem very hazardous. Is this something that is translated into the game?
Yes.
Mhm.
We touch upon orogeny in the core game. We have plans to expand on it, but the initial contact that most people are going to have with origins are ferals, who are basically either are unaware or hidden their abilities, and are basically on the run from the Guardians and the Fulcrum in one way or the other. Or they're going to encounter Imperial origins who are basically there on business, who are doing something, an assignment of some kind. So the notion initially is that characters are going to have sort of brushes with these kinds of things. And as I mentioned, we handle a lot of that with the stunt system, essentially. Because feral origins have very little control over their abilities, the slight randomness of stunts does a nice job of throwing in that, oops, that was too much, or that's not quite enough, or I'm, not, I can't access this right at this moment, kind of thing. So it can be hugely effective, and Origin can do literally the most damage that's possible in the game. We have fairly simple weapons for most people in the stillness, and in age system terms, most of them only do a couple of dice worth of damage, which is plenty if you're a normal
Sure.
person who's getting attacked. Theoretically, Origins can do in the 8 to 10 dice worth of damage to everyone in a 30-meter radius.
Ouch.
So they are understandably feared and respected for their power.
So massive damage asks a good question, which is generally sort of about the anatomy of a turn. But are the calm turns just in calm creation, or is there a swap between adventure phases and calm phases during a session or series?
There is.
Mhm.
Basically, you in addition to calm creation, you play out the game at 2 levels. Basically, you can play it out at the calm seasonal level and at the character level, which basically is subdivided into the usual age system, encounters, and action time as far as that goes. So you might have you might do your initial year before, have a character level story where the characters do a thing based on what's happened recently. Then you might say, okay, this next season passes. This is what happens in the com, etc. And now, a season later, we're going to do another character level story, or maybe we'll have a couple seasons pass. Because again, the focus of 5th season is the life of the com. So it's not like calm shaking things are going to happen every week. It's not going to be who's the monster encounter of the week. As far as that goes, it may be months between significant events in the characters' lives. And so the seasonal system lets us kind of play those events out on a larger scale that still affects the com and still provides background. So we know, like, we did summer as a calm seasonal turn, but we also know that there was a terrible storm during the summer and the com suffered some damage. So when we pick up in the fall at a character level story, the characters can say, oh, well, how do your characters weathered this? How have they been dealing with fixing up their homes and dealing with the damage to the com? Was anyone hurt? The com took some stability damage. So did anybody your characters know hurt? Did anyone die, for that matter? And the players can work with the game moderator to build that out, essentially.
Gotcha. Another great question from our friends at Massive Damage. The stunts implementation of orogeny for ferals begs the question, what have you got planned for fulcrum-trained origines? Whatever you can say at this point.
Well, the fulcrum is going to take more resources, basically.
Yeah.
Honestly, the fulcrum is a different kind of campaign altogether, where you're looking at playing 5th season games where the characters are either all trained origins or guardians or people associated with them in one way or another. Very different kind of community, very different goals and sorts of adventures. So we do have plans to expand 5th season. And obviously the first thing on our list is, along with more adventures, is more details about the fulcrum and the origins.
Awesome.
Just to
please,
that,
go ahead.
With the fulcrums, because there's the also in addition to the one in Jimenez, there's also up in the Arctics and then in the Antarctics. And in the books, there's a bit of exploration, the one in Jimenez and then also in the Antarctics. But we haven't seen a whole lot about the one in the Arctics, and the core book also doesn't get into that because the normal person in the stillness would not have any idea about it. And I have no idea if I'll be working on that book, so I can't say what I would do because
well, one book at a time. I mean,
it sounds like, Nate, that you might be able to hear us now. I hope that is the case. Thank you, RC. Oh, well, you know what? Our friend Mark says, I am so excited. I can't wait for this game. The lore was so deep. And when I asked,
Mm,
hey, did you pick up the free quick start? And you say, no, I did not. I have links for you, my friend. We have
please
the
Yes.
free,
do.
the quick start it is everywhere. You can pick it up on Drive Through RPG. You can pick it up on Roll20, and you can pick it up. Chris is saying that he's in the waiting room, and I do not see you. Thank you so much, Tanya, you rock star. Um, I'm sitting here madly clicking through all my tabs, and I was like, "Oh, look at that
Right?
link!
I
Oh,
I've been spreading the good word about this Kickstart as soon as I got the link.
you
Excellent.
are the
You
best."
rock.
Hi,
Yeah.
Chris.
So download that. But yeah, Chris, I am not seeing you in our waiting room, so you may be in someone else's waiting room. Uh, and I will chat with you in another venue about that. In the one, in that place
Mhm.
where we put that one thing.
Yeah. But
So
I will
oh,
say,
please go
although
ahead.
we're still in the process of obviously developing the game line and what will come next, that one of the things that's great about the age system is that it is so adaptable, and we've already done a lot of paranormal powers of one kind or another in fantasy age and in modern age and in other settings. So it's really just a matter of building out game systems that are going to handle orogeny and the other abilities in the setting in more detail, so far as that goes. We have the core of it. You can see the sort of initial seed of it in the core book.
So I wanted to ask about so in terms of the quick start, Hiromi, what have you done? 45? Is it 45 pages? How
Mhm.
many pages?
Um,
It is
so
massive.
Hmm.
yeah, I did, I think everything except for the mechanic stuff, and then for like the quick start, or it's the like cheat sheet for the mechanics.
Yeah.
I edited down Steve's wonderful work so that it would fit on a page. So if there are any issues with that text, that's my fault, not Steve's. So blame me and not Steve.
Well,
But
listen, my friend. I got to tell you this. This is the quick start is beautiful. It is
Mhm.
well organized. It's of course, we've got an art team that contributes art and all of that, but you've done a really phenomenal job piecing that all together and kind of seeing that behind the scenes. It has been a joy to behold, and it's paid off. I mean, people
Mhm.
really are getting a significant bit of gameplay. That is
Yeah, indeed.
as Steve, as Steve says, we kind of over delivered on that, and and that's never a disappointment. But phenomenal work. Now, do you, in sort of putting stuff together, what has been your favorite part of working on the quick start and kind of getting that ready for the world to see?
honestly, I think like my favorite part isn't technically something that I did, or at least not something that I had a huge amount to do with.
Mhm.
The art team has been
Mm,
phenomenal.
yes.
Agreed.
Hal like did like a fantastic job with all of the layout and with getting extremely talented artists on there.
Mhm. Yeah.
I would love to plug the artists, but I was never in direct contact with them, so I don't know any of their
We're
names. It's probably in the credits. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, the art department just knocked it out of the park, and getting to see the pre-gen characters that I worked on has been just
Mhm.
great. Just
I
like a
I love the
wide
illustrations of them
variety.
so much.
Yeah, just like a wide variety of representation. Like we we have Fulbach, who is from the Western Coastals, which, if you're not familiar with, is not. It's not an East Asian analog, and it's not an East Asian analog.
Okay, fair.
It's complicated,
Right.
but like a wide range of skin tones, body shapes and sizes. Moasi, the strongback, is like, I want to say she's 6'6". That's Fulbach.
That's
Yeah.
Phobok. Yeah.
Yeah, that's our innovator.
They're non-binary. I love all of the characters. Moasi is like 6'6". She is this gigantic black woman that you should not fuck. You should.
I mean, I was told we could swear.
We could. We've almost worked through our entire budget of F words, but we will maintain. Now I'm going to add a special guest who's appearing.
Who could
Let's
it be?
see. Who could it be? Why, it's none other than Chris Pramus, who is underneath the Green Ronin logo.
Appropriately enough.
We will fix that here very, very shortly. Chris, thanks for joining us. You know, we were talking age, and it's one of those things where anywhere on the internet, if you start talking about the Adventure Game Engine, you just kind of pop up. You just like pop up on streams throughout the internet and wherever they are, maybe in people's homes as they're sitting around their living room. But
He hears it whispered on the wind.
That's right. That's right. I do like how Steve also looks like he's leaning away from the logo. I'll fix you guys here in just a moment. But yeah, Chris, do you want to get into a little bit of the age system and while I unencumber your video screen with the logo? But there we go.
So I originally designed the system when we got the license to do a Dragon Age tabletop RPG, and that was back in 2008. And I wanted a system that was going to be like easy to learn, have some depth in play, be attractive to video game players who might want to try tabletop but had never had the opportunity to do so. So that really kind of guided a lot of the ways that Age works. For all resolution, you're rolling 3 6-sided dice. On tests, damage is slightly different, but whenever you want to do something, you're rolling 3d6, you're adding an ability, and you may have a focus, which is kind of like a skill, which gives you a little bump as well. And there's many different ways that works, from casting spells in Fantasy Age, and there's something called challenge tests, which are things that are a little more difficult to pull off, and you need multiple die rolls and often teamwork to do it. And came out, people were like, man, I love this system. Basically, could you do other things with it? And in the past over 12 years, 13 years, we've done so. So it's been adapted to modern stuff with Modern Age, sci-fi with The Expanse, romantic fantasy with Blue Rose. Then we have a forthcoming horror game called Cthulhu Awakens as well. So many different genres. There's lots of stuff you can mess around with. You can bring elements from one game into another because it's all running off the same core system. So if you learn 5th season's your first Age RPG, you've already learned the core of 4 or 5 other games. So
yeah, indeed.
I'm wondering real quickly, we've got a couple great questions in chat. And that's right, Massive Damage Adventure says, and Fantasy Age 2nd edition announced. That's right. Absolutely.
Yes.
Bill, thank you so much for your question, and apologies for not getting to it sooner. But Bill asks, for the initial core book, are humans the only sentient antagonists? And are there other, PCs that folks can expect to encounter?
Bill, you seem to be skirting around the question of, are we going to talk about stone eaters? And the answer is yes.
There you go. The answer is yes. So take that as you will, Hiromi.
Also, massive damage. Said we love Zuzu.
I
And
love
in this
Papa
case,
Zuzu.
Father Zuzu or Zuhanshi is the breeder in the quick start. He is a big black man who is like his job is helping maintain community, and we don't see a whole lot of large people represented, and I wanted to make sure that we got that representation. And especially in media, we don't often get a chance to see big black men portrayed as sexy or attractive, and I'm like, no, we need to fix this. Gotta address this, and like, yeah, Papa Zuzu.
Papa Zuzu, there you go, right on the screen. Great, all of the character images. Now, we were talking a bit earlier, Hiromi. You had mentioned the who was the warrior you mentioned? Was it Moasi?
Moasi.
Let me get. I just love this piece of art because it's just tough. Like, I mean, I love it. I mean, but it's joyful, but it's sort of like, kind of, I don't want to deplete all of our F word budget, but, sort of F around and find out. I love it. Great stuff. Now, you were saying you were giving some stats on this particular character, dimensions.
I want to say that she's 6'6". Like, she just sort of towers over everyone. Like, big, strong woman who like will fight to protect anyone that she needs to protect, but including her wife. There's a light amount of backstory in her bio that you can read about, and if you play the quick start, you can further develop that backstory.
Yeah, there's a bit mentioning Moasi picking up and carrying a deer back from the hunt, and I think that pretty much sums up, her as a character.
She's strong.
Yeah,
she's real strong. Yeah,
strong.
Love. Love that. And okay, so I know that there are questions right now about sort of how we are connecting with artists, and did they play the game or kind of immerse themselves in that work? And I've got a question out to our art director. But as far as that process goes, we provided them with the information from the quick start, and do we have sort of a bring them up to speed boot camp for the lore and the depth of the world? Did they come kind of already armed with that knowledge?
Yeah, and Nora gave us a very useful guide about like what clothing should look like in different areas and so on. So thanks, Nora. That was super helpful for the artists. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, absolutely great. And there, interestingly enough, there are people who are like, "Hey, did you work with the author?" And yes, indeed. That is part and parcel of the whole project.
We do a lot of notes for artists in general, but just because there are so many distinctive elements about the 5th season, it was important to make sure that artists were aware of certain aspects of the setting. One of the things we talked about, for example, is that metal is not used very much in the stillness because metal rusts and metal doesn't last. So, for example, weapons are commonly made either out of wood or out of napped glass for blades or any sharp edges. And that was something we wanted artists to be aware of before they started depicting people with, metal knives and swords or whatnot.
Fantastic. Now, there's a lot of art in the quick start that kind of showcases sort of moments of arbitration, or sort of like, it kind of looks like there is a conflict of some kind. Let me share the screen, and I'm just wondering now. I don't want to spoil anything, so if I am, we can say you must check it out and play it, kind of understand. But what's happening here?
So that is actually not a spoiler. So that's
okay. Good.
Works out just fine. Those are the 6 pre-gen characters. Kokoi over on the left. That's Moasi just one-handedly holding the resident back, and you see how tall and big she is. Johnny is just to the right of her. That's Zuhan. She just sort of like chilling on the wall and be like, "Hey, maybe you should be a little less aggressive
Intense.
towards your fellow residents." And then Phobak and sorry. I have the wrong name in my head.
We're talking about the investigate. Oh, with the okay. I did want to ask. There is in the background there. We're talking about now. What is that creature?
I believe that's actually a Kurkusa, which is like an otter-ish creature.
Yeah,
sort of ferret-like.
Yeah, they're real cute up until a season happens.
I was gonna ask.
I mean, they might still be cute, but you do not want to try and pet one.
So they change. Francisco asks a Kirjusa?
Kurkusa.
A Kurkusa. So an otter-like creature that, when, in some seasons is a sweet, fun, cute creature to be pet and to enjoy, and then in others to be wary of.
Yep. Everything changes during a season, as they say.
Yep.
I would like to echo Nate Robbins' sentiment. Tanya, we love you. Well, we all do love you.
That's
Tanya.
true.
I'm just silently supporting. Nothing has been asked I can really answer. So I'm just like, yep.
Well, we do appreciate you taking time to join us. Now, listen, we could talk about the 5th season. We could talk about N.K. Jemisin. We can talk about the Broken Earth trilogy, all of this for 2 or 3 hours. And so that's what we're going to do. First hour down. No, Tanya says no. As much as we will be ruminating and thinking and preparing some streams for everybody to come join and hang out and get a little deeper in the lore and get a little bit more understanding of the world and your thoughts. We really, truly. Philip says N.K. Jemisin's work in Green Lantern Far Sector is awesome.
100%.
And so here's the thing. You're going to want to pay attention, because now that we're funded, that's just the beginning. We have a whole set of goals and things that we want to accomplish, and we will be doing more streams. We will be connecting. We will be having more dialogue. But you know what? We've got about a few more seconds in us to say my eternal gratitude for the four of you for joining the stream and for hanging out and having dialogue. Tanya, thank you so much for helping us promote and share the information with everybody across the internet. Always a delight to hang out and chat with you. Of course, Hiromi, thank you so much for giving a little depth. And, Chris, having you come on our streams, and it's always nice to get that pitch from the mind around the adventure game engine and an insight into how we make these things. Would anybody like to share anything before we head out and prepare for our next stream, which might be in a couple days?
Go back it. Go tell everyone to back it. And if you back within the next 48 hours, you get a print edition of the Quick Start.
Yeah,
That's right.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
right.
I also want to plug two other things.
Please do.
One of Pugmire Second Edition coincidentally released or hit Kickstarter today. They're like 1K away from 10K away from being funded. I worked on that as well. I did that adventure and a bunch of the magic system. And from Hit Point Press, Constellation Volume 1, which is an anthology of zines. I have nothing to do with that, but I know some of the authors, so I wanted to give them a shout out. And they're slightly overfunded, so they're doing well.
Nice, fantastic. I'm looking at the Pugmire Backerkit link, and we will drop it in chat. And then the other project is on Backerkit as well.
They should both be on Kickstarter.
I will tell you, in full honesty, I blanked out the second mention primarily because I was looking for the first.
Constellation Volume 1.
Nice.
By Hit Point Press, which might be easier to find them under.
There we go. I do also want to thank N.K. Jemison for joining the chat, hanging out, and lurking. Truly a joy. And as Tanya mentions, we are 9K away from the first stretch goal, which is awesome.
I'd also like to point out, if you guys haven't mentioned it, there's a really good interview with Tanya over at Gizmodo that dropped today.
That's right.
The same journalist, Linda, who broke the open game license story that's been dominating industry stuff for the past couple of weeks. Check it out. Well worth the read. I should also mention, if you're looking for a new fantasy game or you're recently disenchanted with, say, a good fantasy game, we're going to be releasing the PDF and put on pre-order Fantasy Age 2nd Edition in just a few weeks. So it's a spiffed up version of the game. It's been 8 years, I think, since the original basic rulebook came out. So this is beefier, more options, fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
Very
watch out for that.
Absolutely. And also, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things that you need to do to sort of be in tune with what we've got coming up, because we've got streams ahead like nobody's business, but our business, and yours as well. Friends, thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out in chat. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate your questions. In the meantime, if you've got questions, post something to our Facebook or YouTube, respond to our Twitter. We are here and ready to answer your questions. N.K. Jemison, enjoy your dinner. Thank you so much for joining us.
Enjoy dinner, Nora. Talk to you later.
Yes.
All right, friends. With that, I thank you and farewell.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay safe.